welcome back to another episode of the Ground and Pound Show. I'm Stephanie Emily, and on this week's show, we kick it cage side with Jake Ellenberger. We have highlights from last week's collision course. Zach Freeman joins us for the preview of Friday's Rumble Time promotions at Ameristar. And of course, John Minky returns for another unpredictable Minky Minute. Now here's John with the highlights.
Thanks, Shelby Graham's baby mama, and this is the Ground and Pound Show. Okay, first we're going to take a look at some highlights from this weekend's collision course. Alright, the first fight we're going to look at is Gio Rubio versus Ronnie Harper. Now, Gio was a last-minute replacement. During this fight, it was pretty typical. We see Ronnie Harper coming out nice and wild, swinging for the fences, kind of half punching, half trying to grab, not really sure what he's doing there. But I think, and if you've watched a Rubio fight before, you're really seeing a progression. It's something that Adam Russillo, the matchmaker for the show, has said about him, that he has been improving, and you really see that during the match. He had a couple of decent sweeps. On the whole, it looked like Ronnie Harper was just kind of really scrambly. I don't really know how to explain it. You can watch the highlights for yourself, obviously. I would definitely say that he kind of reminds me. You remember in Major League where the one guy's talking about putting snot on the ball? That's what I think about Ronnie Harper's fighting, okay? It's like there's snot all over it. It's junk. But somehow he managed to get the back and get the rear naked choke and chalk up another win. Alright, finally we're going to talk about CJ, the Ground Shark Hunter, going against Buddy McGinnis, okay? So you've really got two really highly rated 155ers by Spire's ranking system. So locally here, they're two very highly rated guys, with Hunter just defeating the top dog in the division with Brandon Knight. So as this fight started, it's really kind of hard to say there was a winner and loser in the first two rounds. As you come out, they jam into the fence. Hunter gets the takedown, kind of, but also Buddy kind of pulled guard. You see a really active guard, from Buddy, so much so you don't really see CJ trying much. Kind of went for a little bit of a slam, but not really. Not to say that nothing happened this round, but Buddy's offense from the bottom kind of nullified a lot of Hunter's movement on top. Ultimately, I know the judges did give that first round to Hunter, but for me personally, I don't necessarily agree or disagree. This was kind of really a pretty even round. Now in the second round, Buddy knew that he had to come out and get this round back. You see, when fighters behave in that kind of manner, it shows like a degree of education and experience when they can go out there and say, okay, I know I need to win this round. And that's what he did. He went out there, he got the takedown. I would say that CJ was less not active, but he was less threatening with his submissions from the bottom than Buddy was, but CJ was much more active punching from the bottom, and he too kind of nullified Buddy's offense while he was on top. Then, towards the end of the round, you have CJ, Dustin Seavers, referee, stands him back up, and then CJ gets takedown. He finishes out on top. So really, again, you're almost looking at an even round there. It really doesn't matter. I mean, essentially, I guess if you gave the first round to Hunter, then you would kind of give the second round to McGinnis. But in truth, I would have no problem seeing both those rounds being even. Not much happened. Well, I should say not much happened, but they canceled each other out a lot. Then in the third round, this is where you see the difference. Buddy knows it's a close fight. He says, I have got to get on top. I have got to get to a dominant position. He does just that. CJ, not wanting to give this round up, obviously knowing it would cost him the fight, tries to wrestle up. When he does, he exposes his back, but he's able to sink the body triangle in and get that rear-mounted position and really kind of just ride the position out and guaranteeing himself the victory. Again, this fight wasn't bad work for both guys, but I think they're kind of beyond this. They need to grow beyond this level of fighting, and not to suggest that they're ready for the pros per se, but they need to branch out and go outside of this area. They need to fight other people. They need to do more stand-up matches. I know I've been preaching that week in and week out, but they do need to work on doing more stand-up matches. They both, that is their biggest weakness, is their stand-up. They're both good on the ground. if they want to be ready for pro, that's what they need to be doing, is looking to improve that stand-up. And it's real simple. Take 5, 6 K1 or boxing matches and you will see a huge difference in your confidence level. And that would be my suggestion to them. This is a pretty decent little fight. I think it was kind of good work for both guys, but again, there was nothing real groundbreaking for either of these guys. I mean, it almost looked like they just came in there and they sparred hard. I mean, you could almost let these two guys go fight in somebody's gym and it would look exactly the same. Not to say that they didn't try to beat each other, but again, with 9 minutes or 3-minute rounds, with people on this level or this much experience, you're not going to allow them to really have enough time to do what they're capable of doing. They need more time. And that's something to even think about right there too, is if a possibility of extending rounds. These guys at this level who have 20, 30 fights apiece on the amateur level, they need to be able to fight for more than 3 minutes. They're too good, they'll cancel each other out, and that's what you had right here. And the one difference in this fight is that Buddy was able, CJ got a little desperate, and Buddy was able to get his back, and that was the whole fight. Up next, we talk to Jim Jenkins and Zach Freeman about tonight's Rumble Time event.
Okay, here we are at the Ground and Pound show, here to talk about Rumble Time Clash of Warriors coming up. Here with Jim Jenkins and fighter Zach Freeman. Jim, big fight card coming up, just kind of initial thoughts on things.
I'm excited. I mean, this is our third time we did a hybrid show with at the casino that was half boxing MMA, but this will be our second full MMA show. The last one, as you know, and everybody's still talking about, was an incredible show. The fighters were just amazing. You know, the Sampo and Campuzano fight was the best fight I've ever seen live. Expect some of the same thing. What I'm excited is that we're committed to help guys like Sampo and Zach Freeman when they break into the top rankings, to bring in people that are ranked higher than them, to give them a chance to move up, like the guy we're bringing in for Zach.
Yeah, it's really nice to see that. We have so many promotions that when they do look to help fighters out, they look to over-help fighters out and start matching them up against people who, when they're 10-0, going against guys who are 0-1 and things like that. And it's not what you're doing. You're actually bringing top-tier talent in to fight, some of St. Louis best. And that's the only thing that's going to really set the St. Louis scene apart is our guys, our best guys, fighting great guys to help push them to the next level. And I've got to say you're doing an excellent job as a promoter.
Well, thank you. I think it makes a big difference. The fighter that Zach fought last time was previously ranked in the top 300. Sharon Spain, who's actually coming back to fight Eric Irvin this time. And when Zach beat him, it knocked him into the top, top 380 or something like that.
I wasn't even aware that there were 300 lightweight fighters ranked, and that's a pretty serious ranking system.
Fight Matrix ranks guys. It's amazing. They're an amazing site. They go all the way, unless it's the 125ers, which they only do to 75, but after they go all the way.
I mean, there's not very many full-grown men that weigh 125 pounds.
No, not too many.
Sorry, Sam. So that's fightmatrix.com. So throwing out a free plug right there. If you guys want to check out where your rankings are. You said you're bringing back Freeman's last opponent. What was his name again?
Sharon Spain. He's a Strikeforce Challenger veteran, and we're going to bring him back. He's going to fight Eric Irvin.
Oh, okay, great. I know a lot about Eric Irvin. I've been training with him for a long time. He's a good friend. Kind of been watching a little bit, and I think it should be a pretty good fight.
One of the things that I've done that was real important to me so that I can continue to try and help our region is to hook up with guys like Rumble Time, guys that are bigger than I have been as a promotion. And that being said, they're able to take and use their connections to bring people like Titan to us, which will help fighters like Zach and the other guys even farther. So it's a chain of stuff that always is going to take work on both ends. I think people just think that because there's a fight and there's a poster that it'll be sold out and people will show up, and they've got to support their own community and whatever it is. I mean, we've got some outstanding pros, and the show's going to sell out. It's going to continue to grow as it always has. Done 40 shows now in 4 years, so we're not going away. That's for sure. We have plenty of fighters. But I understand the disappointment when there shouldn't be one empty seat on a fight like that last
one. Oh, yeah, exactly.
And that comes down to making it more of a family atmosphere even. Like I have a group of 10-year-olds coming as a birthday party to my fight, It's not a violent sport. It's a great sport, and people just need to be more educated on it.
So you're saying there's no violence in MMA?
Well, I'm just saying it's more aimed towards sportsmanship.
There you go. There
I mean,
you go.
football, you can say it's violent.
Oh,
I can
it's
make
very
I
violent.
can make tennis violent. You know, I mean, if you aim just at the person's head and not at the ground, you can make any sport violent. So I mean, you can make a case.
The altar boy Zach.
Yeah,
Making tennis violent.
I just think it's one of those things that amateurs, like, how many people do you see goes to the Blues game? You know how many of those kids are little kids playing hockey? It's just like if you're an amateur fighter and you want to be a pro fighter, you have to invest into your own future. You know? And sometimes that does mean buying a ticket and going to a fight, you know, if you're not popular enough to get in.
Well, there's nothing live entertainment that you can pretty much go to that they don't sell tickets. So, you know, the fact that, you know, tickets are reasonably priced. They start at $35. It's an all ages show. There's no reason that people can't go. And if they don't come to this one, there's going to be more. I mean, we're doing a lot of good things here. We're going to continue to build it. We do an amateur series at the Heart of St. Charles every other month. We're probably going to be doing about 5 shows at the casino every year, along with other things like Titan that are coming to town. So we're growing in this market. There's just not a lot of camaraderie between the small promotions. We all know there's a lot of little promotions, and some of them do good, but they compete continually against each other. And it is amazing to me that people, the fighters in our community, choose to go watch a good amateur fight on someone's card, that's fine, or to get a chance to go watch a Sampo or Freeman fight Aaron Darrow like he's fighting coming up, or Campuzano who Freeman just fought. It's a no-brainer. You know, where would you go for the same price?
Oh, I know. I actually was out in Salina, Kansas, and there was a show. The local show was 90% amateur. There was one fight on there that was a pro, and it happened to be Josh Sampo with the Gore, one of Goker's guys out of Vegas. And I'll tell you what, I walked around the crowd, and if anybody's been to Salina, Kansas, it's a little shady, but you know, whatever. And they walked around the crowd, and they were fascinated by Gore and Sampo, and they were like, "Wow, we have never seen anything of this quality." And I saw, like, and I'm talking about, like, this is the kind of crowd that if anybody goes to the ground, they're immediately starting booing. But the fight was so great. It was on the feet, it was on the ground. They banged on the feet and they fought hard on the ground. And by the end of it, everybody stood up and clapped. I couldn't believe I'd see that out of this in particular crowd, because I've been to shows there before, and like I said, it's a kind of a rough crowd. And they stood up and clapped and said, "We've never seen anything like this before." So to see that appreciation of pro fighting, and that's what it seems like you guys are really doing. You're going out of your way to collaborate and try to work together and find out that what's best for the individual is truly what's best for everybody else. And, you know, acting on your own behalf, but then at the same time willing to play ball with other people. Why? Because it's what's best for you. You know, and it's the principles of capitalism right there. You start trying to cut everybody's throat, and you're going to end up being on an island all by yourself. Like I said, you know, we know that guy, and where's he at now?
Let's kind of bring things back towards the 27th. Zach, you've got the main event coming up. Probably your toughest fight to date against Aaron Darrow. I just got off the phone with him a few minutes ago. Seems like a really great guy, solid competitor in the sport for the right reasons. Just kind of your thoughts going into the fight.
Well, what I've heard, it sounds a lot. He kind of has a lot of the same viewpoints as I do. You know, we're not in there to, you know, we're not in there to make friends, but we're not in there to make enemies. You know, we're just there to be respectful and bring our talents to the table and see who comes out on top. And that's what I'm hoping happens that night. So I'm definitely playing on myself for a 15-minute war. I know the guy's tough.
Did you watch that Clemente fight? I'm sure you have.
Yeah,
I fought Rich Clemente. He's a no-quit guy.
I think it's a bad fight to judge Darrow on, because Clemente's a seasoned veteran, and he stepped up to a big show on short notice and fought Clemente.
But it shows that
he got handled by Clemente, but at times he gave Clemente trouble, and then he subbed him in the third. So I mean, he's gritty and he's durable.
Yeah.
You know. A Duracell will beat a cheap generic battery any day, just because it lasts longer. So I think it's going to come down to conditioning. Who's going to be able to push the pace?
It's going to be fun.
I know obviously know both those fighters pretty well. Just kind of break that fight down.
I do. I've been following Darrow.
Be honest, John.
Oh yeah, I've been following.
Wait, hold on.
Darrow. I've actually been following Darrow for a long time. I've seen him fight live a couple of times. You know, being out living in Kansas for a little while, you know, I was around that scene a lot, and it's ironic because, you know, Zach and I train out of the same facility in the gym now. So I do know both guys. I know that it's going to be a very good fight. I don't want to sit there and talk about necessarily overanalyze things, but obviously what Darrow's got to look to do is try to maximize his opportunities, and what, you know, when he gets an opening to do it. He's not the stronger fighter here. He's the taller fighter. So he's got to try to draw this out, score his points where he can. Try to get Zach running in, things like that. You know, get him to overcommit to things, which is what he kind of does with everybody. Now, if you notice in his Alonzo Martinez fight, that didn't happen. Alonzo did not overcommit like a lot of other fighters would, and Darrow was able to really kind of start to get the better of him in the third round, but it was a little too late. And that's what kind of happened. So I think at a certain point, if you be, you know, with his length, it can work against him if he's not snapping his punches, if he's not climbing the back correctly and breaking posture. So that's what he's got to do. On the other hand, you know, Zach's definitely the stronger of the two fighters. He has the better hair. He is slightly better looking. He's definitely got the heavier hands, but he's got less experience right there. I think that when it comes down to it, I think Zach is a lot more fundamentally sound on the ground, and I know that's going to blow everybody's mind. But given that Darrow has such a good, solid grappling background where he's subbing people in fights, but he's kind of subbing people with gimmick-esque techniques, you know. Not saying that rubber guard is gimmick or jumping to triangle is a gimmick or things like that. It's very simple to beat. Now, Zach, don't get caught in this kind of stuff because you make me look like an ass. So we're going to both look bad later. But I think very, very fundamental basics, and fundamentals are the way to win this fight, and not getting ahead of yourself. One punch at a time, one movement at a time, and I'd like to see. I think Zach's got this by decision.
Well, we've talked about a couple of fights on the card. Just kind of anything else that some other fights kind of pop out.
There's a lot of good fights coming up. Last time the co-main event was Zach and the main event was Sampo, and they've reversed it this time, and we're happy to have Josh Sampo back. And he's fighting a guy they call Little Kimbo named Carson Gainey. He's 5'3", 125 pounds, and looks like Kimbo Slice. He wrestled at Ohio University, and he's a wrestling instructor. He's a stud wrestler like Sampo, so it should be, maybe they'll negate each other and do a stand-up fight for us. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's going to be a great co-main event, and then like we said earlier, we're bringing back Strikeforce Challenger veteran Sharon Spain to fight Eric Irving. That's going to be a good fight too. It's a good test for Eric, to somebody who's got probably, I think, 16, 17 fights now. Spain's got, so that'll be a good one for him. Johnny Irish is back. Danny O'Connor, everybody loves Danny, and he's fighting a tough veteran in the loose cannon, Josh Epps. This is Danny's second pro fight. I believe Josh has had 9 pro fights, and so that's going to be a good fight. So we've got 2 125 bouts on this show, which is kind of rare to get that many. Matt Chin pro debuted with us last year, and so does Steve Dietrich, and they're going to be back this year, and they're going to be meeting each other at 145.
Great matchup.
Yeah, that's going to be, you know what?
It's a great matchup, man.
2 years ago, that would have been a title fight on anybody's amateur card.
Spire Featherweight Championship.
Exactly, and then they both stumbled in their pro debut, but they both fought very tough people. One fought Johansson, the other Flogger, and the other one fought Nick Labosco. Yeah. So they just came out on the short end.
I mean, it's obvious that you don't baby any of us fighters. You literally try to find people to give us not only a challenge, but beat us. I mean, it's obvious in every card you put together. You really match well, I must say that.
Thanks, we're trying. I mean, there's a lot of competition for fighters, but as long as we keep doing what we do, you know, once again, Rumble Time bringing in Titan is amazing to me. I mean, that is something I would have never been able to do for this group of guys that, you know, in our region. And so I'm ecstatic for the way the directions are going. We've got a couple really good amateur bouts too that I don't want to forget about on here. Also we have one more pro fight. Damian Jeffro is going to be fighting. Gary Rhodes is making his pro debut. It was the last late minute add-on because we had a couple difficulties in some of the other previously scheduled fights. So we're happy to have that one. A lot of people know Jeffro. He won last time. He beat Johannes Flogger at the last event. But we've got the gateway to the top 135-pound finals with Charles Johnson, who last time I saw him in the semifinals, the first time I saw him, and he knocked out Richie Furno. Handled it pretty good. It was a tough fight for Richie, and the kid looked strong. He looked really tough, good wrestling background. And he's fighting Kenny Nienhuis, who's been a staple at CMMA for a long time. Kenny's a tough kid, getting better all the time. He's been our 35-pound amateur champ before. In fact, I think he lost to Charlie at one point out of your gym, your guys' place. So that's going to be a really good fight too. And then Jake Roberts against Jake Bueller. Bueller I've not seen other than on tape. Hard-nosed kid from what I understand, and so is Jake. Jake is just...
Look out, man.
Look out for that kid.
Yeah, he's a finisher. He reminds me, I train with him a lot, and he's a finisher. He's going to look to always finish people.
He fought as an amateur on the undercard at the last event and beat, my brain is slipping right now, Antonio Atkins. And he did a real good job.
Very tough.
Young kid, you know, he went to school with my son. He wasn't phased at all on that fight, being in front of the big crowd, being on the pro show. And he's a strong kid. I mean, he's like a bull. That kid is strong. And from what I hear, so is Bueller. So that's going to be a really tough fight. You've probably seen Jake Bueller fight a few times at Hans, maybe?
Oh yeah, I've seen both guys. Luckily, I actually grew up in the same area that where Bueller's from. And again, Jake Roberts is another guy that trains up in St. Charles, so I know him really well too. So yeah, you know,
physically they're both pretty similar.
Roberts should be stronger. I want to say Bueller's is probably slightly taller, maybe.
He's got a little more experience,
a little bit more reach. Yeah, so there's going to be a little bit more outside, but Bueller tends to kind of overhand and crash in and try to assert himself when he probably should want to, you know, pick his spots a little bit more in this fight and be a little bit more evasive and work the outside. But again, you know, it's like you can't ever get amateurs to do that. You know, you had amateur fighters go in there and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do my stand-up 3 seconds into it. They're already grabbing each other, slamming into the cage. So it's like two guys going forward, and, you know, it happens every time. But
yeah, this is going to be a good card. I mean, it's Friday the 27th at Heart of St. Charles. Friday the 27th at Ameristar Casino, excuse me. Tickets are $35. You can get them at tickets.com. You can get them at Ameristar Casino. You can get them through the fighters. You can get them from calling us at Rumble Time.
Well, guys, thanks a lot for stopping by and being a part of the Ground and Pound show. Looking forward to seeing you on the 27th.
Can I make a quick pitch?
You bet.
Sponsors, help these guys out.
Well, it's a pleasure to have UFC welterweight Jake Ellenberger here for Kicking It Cage Side. Jake, what brings you to St. Louis?
Today I'm here with Team Vahi Jiu-Jitsu. I'm here with a few of the other guys here testing for promotions and stuff. So, you know, we had a long physical test today, just a big mental push training, and, you know, see a lot of guys get promoted.
Yeah, we heard you took the infamous Team Vahi belt test.
Yeah, you know, I've been promoted. I was a little while back, but, you know, I just had to go through the physical test here, just being pushed. And, you know, for me, it's a big help, too, with fights coming up as far as training goes, and more of a mental push than anything.
Can you kind of go into the details of the rigors of that test?
Yeah, you know, it was just long. You know, it was about 3 hours and 3.5, I should say. But it was more a mental test than anything, you know, because conditioning, you know, you can push yourself, but just not stopping, you know what I mean? Continuously going, it really is just a mental wear and grind, but, you know, it's just something you got to push yourself.
Can you explain a little bit your history with Vahi?
Yeah, you know, I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. A few of the guys I started training with were actually Team Vahi affiliates. So I started training jiu-jitsu under them. Ed Shobe and Scott Morton, who actually just got promoted today as well. You know, and that's how I met Rodrigo. And, you know, we started, that was about 8 years ago. So, you know, ever since then we started, you know, just talking. You know, he's good with strategy as far as philosophy goes with MMA, and you know, he brings a lot of value to MMA especially, but, you know, just a lot of the transitional game, and you know, keep staying open-minded. You know, never, you know, you can never learn too much, and you always got to, you know, keep adjusting and keep adapting. So, you know, I've always had a good relationship with Rodrigo, and you know, continue to, you know, he's a good friend of mine and somebody I look up to. So, it's definitely a good coach to have in your corner.
Now, we understand you're pretty familiar with some of the local talents, some of the local fighters.
Yeah, you know, I've known quite a few of the guys down here that fight MMA, and they're super tough. I mean, you know, that's the beauty about the Midwest. I was born and raised here in Omaha in the Midwest, and, you know, the thing that I've noticed about a lot of the fighters in the Midwest is man, you may not have heard of them, but there are some guys that are just tougher than crap. I mean, the guys that'll push you. You know, I know every time I come down here, I'm going to be pushed, and it's good training from, you know, all the way from the ground, from a jiu-jitsu standpoint to you know, wrestling, MMA, and on your feet. So there's so many guys down here that are good, that can push me. I mean, I like to, you know, be a good training partner to them as well as they are to me. So I mean, you know, it's just fun to be down here, be around the guys, and you know, we have fun. So
coming up for you is Josh Koscheck, right?
Yeah, sure. I'm fighting Josh Koscheck at UFC 151 in about 6 weeks. So I've been training about 3 or 4 weeks now, and you know, today was a good hill, I should say, a good hill to climb. You know, it wasn't easy. There was nothing easy. Today was terrible. It was like I said, 3.5 hour long push. But you know what? It's good for me to get over that. And now, you know, now we're into training camp. We're into make a smooth transition into continuous training and, you know, just being smart. You know, it makes me keep my mind open and focus on small things I need to work on for this fight as far as strategy goes and ways to beat Koscheck. You know, it's a tough fight too, but you know, there's guys, especially here in the Midwest, that can mimic a lot of what he does. He's a good wrestler, he's athletic. But you know what, technique always beats athleticism everywhere we go. So, you know, for me, I want to focus on getting better, 1% better all the time, little things. So, you know, like Rodrigo's always told me, it's a matter of small details, just little things to work on to keep getting better.
And where will we be having your camp?
You know, it's good to come down here for a few days and get the good feel with the guys on the ground, and also just get different body styles. But you know, like I said, I know it would be tough here. It'd be mentally challenging, just as far as getting pushed in every position when you're tired. You know, fresh guys, high level. There's so many high level guys here. You know, brown belts, black belts that are pushing you and not letting you quit. So you know, it's a lot of fun too. I'm still learning. I'm still young in the sport. You know what I mean? I've been training like 8 years, like I said. And there's so much to learn. There's so much to constantly keep growing. But yeah, I'll probably spend the next 6 weeks in California and you know, keep working on the strategy for this fight.
Jake, thanks for your time and good luck with your upcoming fight. Next is the Minky Minute.
Okay, St. Louis, we've got a problem here, okay? We have 4 shows that do pro fights in the area consistently. We have Shamrock, we have Rumble Time, we have Fight Hard MMA, and we have Cage Championships. Now, what's my problem? You decorated amateurs that have 20 fights, and I think it's a good job that you guys went out there and you got your experience to prepare. You guys do not show up. I never see you at these pro shows unless you're on the bill, unless you're fighting, okay? Why don't you guys go to that show? Why don't you guys buy a ticket? Do you think you're too popular to buy a ticket? Do you think you're too good just because you have a couple of amateur fights? Well, it's interesting because I've known these guys my entire life since I was a young kid, and I still buy tickets. They don't make me, they actually offer me free tickets all the time, but I go ahead and buy them. Why? Because I'm trying to support the sport, okay? We have 1 million amateur shows. I don't give a shit about the amateur shows and how many people they had. I mean, Jesus, Collision Course had like 7 people out there last week. Cool, whatever, I don't care, okay? What I do care about is this weekend, we have Rumble Time and we have Shamrock. 2 different shows in 1 weekend. Wow, I wonder why they did it. Maybe it's because they're getting too goddamn cutthroat with each other. Look at the next 2 pro shows, both on August 18th. We have Cage Championships and Fight Hard MMA, both on the same day. Why are they doing this? They're cutting each other's throats. Whether it's deliberate or whether it's accidental, it doesn't matter. Amateurs, they need your help, okay? If you're a popular amateur, you need to get your ass out there and you need to say, go up to 5 of your buddies and say, hey, come with me to a pro show. Who cares if you're not on the bill? You're not big time yet anyway. You ain't Justin Lawrence. You ain't Lance Benoist. I swear, man. You don't have Lance Benoist girls around. I swear, by the way, Lance Benoist just breaks up with his girlfriend, okay? The girl's a 10. I swear, she's a 10. You know, it reminded me of that old Chris Rock joke where he goes ahead and says, hey, show me the hottest girl in the world and I'll show you a guy who's tired of fucking her. That's Lance Benoist, women. And if you want to get that kind of like level of girls, you're going to need the help of these pro shows. Why do you need the help of these pro shows? Who do you think is going to get you fights when you turn pro? Do you think out-of-towners want to bring you in to beat their local fighters? Hell no! They don't want to use you. They don't want to use it. I'll talk to you about a friend of mine. Wonderful fighter. Thank God Joe Kelly of Titan and Ryan Stoddard of Victory Fighting Championships have finally given this kid a break. He was a 1-0 amateur or 1-0 pro for a year and a half. No one in Kansas would fight him, no pro shows around, and no one helped him out. Now, thank God, these a couple of promoters have taken him in and allowed him to fight regularly, and now he's up to 5-0. You should actually check him out. He's a great fighter. But, so what you guys need to do is, these out-of-town shows don't want you to beat their pro fighters. They don't want you to. You're not going to get fights. You're just going to be brought up to be brought in there to be cannon fodder. So who's going to take care of you? Jesse Finney's going to take care of you. We've got Jim Jenkins who will take care of you. We have Patrick Smith who will take care of you, and we got Kenny Nowling who will take care of you. Okay? Why? Because they give a shit about the local scene. Now, whether it's because they're trying to make money themselves, it doesn't matter. If you make money and they make money, it's all good. Okay? So you need to get your friends together and you need to go to these shows. I don't care about the local amateur shows. Who cares if you're not down at the local the local random show in the middle of BFE and somebody's barn somewhere, and you got all your Hoosier friends there cheering you on or whatever, man. F that shit. Grab a couple of your Hoosier buddies. They sell beer at these places. I'm sure they'll have a great time. Drag them up there. Show them what quality fighting is, okay? And keep these shows alive. Because guess what? I'll tell you what, and I know this, I even talked to Jim Jenkins about this at the Rumble time. I guarantee you, get 5 of your buddies, go up there and say hi to Jim. Let him know you're there supporting his show. He's gonna remember that. He's gonna remember that. And if you sign your soul away to Jesse Finney, he'll remember that too, and he'll put you on his show. So again, I don't know if you want to go that route. Patrick Smith, again, same kind of thing. If you go down there and support him, he'll support you. Fight Hard's a little bit different, okay? They're doing great, but again, they're giving out free tickets a lot, okay? So what? You still need to be supporting their show. You still need to support your show. All right, so what am I trying to say here? Anyway, we basically have what at one point was a healthy animal, all right? And too many parasites and just too many leeches is starting to kill this animal. That animal is St. Louis MMA, all right? I've seen it rise up in popularity, and I've seen it die off, and then I see it rise back up again, all right? So again, if you guys who are looking to become pro, the best way to make an impression and the best way to get that Lance Benoist pussy is to get in the UFC, Strikeforce, Bellator. How are you going to do that? Real simple. Make Jesse Finney your buddy. Make Jim Jenkins your buddy. Wear a stupid pair of sunglasses like Kenny Nowling, okay? Or hang out with Patrick Smith. He's actually a really nice guy, so I can't say anything bad about Patrick Smith at all. I couldn't even think of something to say bad about him. Everybody else, totally easy, but not bad. So, again, it just doesn't make sense to me. You guys have to get off your asses and support pro shows, not shows that you're on. Pro shows. It's real simple. I think I beat this point to death. This was the Minky 10 minutes. I'm sorry for ranting and raving about this. This was kind of a serious one. I tried to make fun of some people just because I know people expect me to, but this one's actually kind of coming from the heart. Not that I don't think that Kenny Nowling looks ridiculous in the cage, but it's not something that was necessary for me to say. This is necessary. You guys have to support these guys, or this scene will fail. It will fail. All right, so it's all on you guys. I hope you take my advice and grab a couple of your friends and go to the next pro show, whoever it is. I don't care who it is.
Now here's your event calendar. Friday, July 27th, Rumble Time presents Clash of the Warriors. Then on Saturday, July 28th, Shamrock FC at Lumiere Casino. Saturday, August 4th, American Cage Wars returns to Pacific for Battle 10. Saturday, August 10th, Rumble Time Amateur Series at the Heart of St. Charles. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And tell your friends to check us out, or call us if you have questions or comments. Night, St. Louis.